Namaste nerds, this is Navanad, the budget pub stomper, and Celes, the Knight Runer, is back by popular demand. I had some people actually ask me to do part 2, the starting hands and mulligan guide for the deck tech that I released yesterday. So as promised, here we are. We're going to go through it. Somebody also noticed they were going through the list and had watched the video and noticed that Peer into the Abyss was missing from the deck list, and I took that out. I'm still experimenting with this deck. I'm still iterating on it, and kind of what I came to the conclusion of is that Celes tends to either get out to a fast start and be sort of like a turbo win deck, like a turbo combo deck, or she can sort of pivot into a grindy strategy where she's drawing a bunch of cards and like looting through the deck and wheeling through the deck really, and generating a bunch of value. But when you are going through that kind of grindy pivot, you need to have a lot of interaction. You need to have ways to stop your opponents from winning. You can't just be grinding a bunch of A's and no B's when you missed your combo. So to make a long story short, I just thought I would cut the PETA because we're very rarely hard casting it, and I added more interaction. I don't remember exactly. I think it was I took it out for untimely. What is it called? I'll find it. Yeah, I took it out for untimely malfunction. So Peer into the Abyss, it's hard to cast. It's 7 mana, and when you're playing in a budget deck, like a $100 deck, it doesn't even guarantee that you win the game on that turn. I mean, you're virtually guaranteed to win the game if it comes back around to you, but it may not. And your opponents are going to try very hard to stop you. They're going to know that you're about to sculpt a perfect hand. And the other thing is, it's just not necessary. I know we talked about the Peer into the Abyss line with Hoarding Broodlord, but really that's the backup line with Hoarding Broodlord. And Hoarding Broodlord is already sort of a backup combo in the deck. So having the backup to a backup seemed a little bit silly. So now we've got one of the best interaction spells in red, period, and definitely just a card that I think you should be on if you're in a red deck at a $100 budget and you're trying to play competitively. I think probably Untimely Malfunction should be in your list. It's a misdirection. It's only 2 mana, 1 red and a colorless. And it's kind of like a bolt bend effect, but it's got other modes. You can destroy target artifact with it, and then it's got some silly thing about creatures not being able to block or something. Now that's not going to come up very often, but hey, I guess when it does, you feel like a genius, right? So I just I cut the Peer into the Abyss, but in doing so, I feel like I ought to explain the main win line. But the main win line with Hoarding Broodlord is so damn complicated. Let's get into the goldfishing. If it comes up, we'll discuss it. Maybe I should just lay it out for you. It's literally like 14 steps. So I guess we'll give you the long short of it. The long short of the Hoarding Broodlord line is going to be like this. You're going to animate the Hoarding Broodlord. You're going to get your Saw in Half. You're going to convoke cast the Saw in Half to make 2 copies of the Hoarding Broodlord. One is going to grab Pinnacle Monk. That's the MDFC land on one side, and on the other side it's a creature that returns an instant or sorcery to hand. So you're going to get Pinnacle Monk with one of your Hoarding Broodlord tokens, and you're going to get Burnt Offering with the other. You're going to tap the token to cast the Burnt Offering, sacrificing the token, which will give you 8 mana. Make some 4 black and 4 red, doesn't matter. Then you're going to cast the Pinnacle Monk, and you're going to use part of that 8 mana, and you're going to tap your other Hoarding Broodlord token to cast the Pinnacle Monk, and that's going to return the Saw in Half to your hand. And then you're going to do it again, and you're going to make 2 Pinnacle Monks, and one's going to return Burnt Offering, and one's going to return the Saw in Half. And then you're going to Saw it in Half, and then you're going to so on and so forth, and you're going to get eventually, or you can do it with the Hoarding Broodlord. So you basically get infinite Hoarding Broodlords and or Pinnacle Monk ETBs. So you can tutor your whole deck, and you can generate all the mana you want with your Burnt Offering. And then you just win with Cut to Ribbons, or you put a Mayhem Devil into play and you're sacrificing things with your Burnt Offering over and over, and you murk the table that way. Or just find one of your A+B wins. Dual Caster Mage Twin Flame win the game. Hopefully that makes some sense. Okay, here's our first look at a first 7. No, this is fine. We can roll with this. Let's draw for turn. Okay, and we'll go Land for turn. Oh wait, we can't do that land. What is it? Oh, that sucks. It's a damn tap land. That's gonna slow us down. Well, do we want to play this turn one, or let's play this turn one just in case we find, if we go perfect mana sources. We did not. All right, so turn two, we're gonna play our stupid tap land. That does really put us back a turn. That doesn't happen very often, but it happened today. We don't have yeah, that's really unfortunate. All right, well, I guess we're going to turn three. We're just getting screwed on mana. We'll go 1/2 unmarked grave. Oops, 1/2 unmarked grave. And we don't have white, so we can't put this creature in play. Yep, okay, unmarked grave it is. And let's do the Hoarding Broodlord. No, we'll do, yeah, let's do Hoarding Broodlord. So I can kind of solidify that line for y'all. Go to next turn, and we are just land screwed. We started with 2, and we're on turn 4, still 2. There's 34 in the deck. Okay, so do we just go for the win here? We'd have to split it up across 2 turns. Or we could set up to do it all in 1 turn next time. Let's go. We're going to cast a Dark Ritual. For a Signet, tap that for 2. No. Let's go black for Dark Ritual. Necromancy. Hoarding Broodlord. Hoarding Broodlord is going to enter the battlefield and find Sawn Half. One, I miss, yeah. Damn it, I miscounted. I thought I have the Springleaf Drum that I could tap with the Hoarding Broodlord for a mana, tap this for a mana, and then also be able to Convoke cast the Sawn Half. This is in exile under the Hoarding Broodlord. But nope, we're still 1 mana short. Well, damn, this looked like a really, really good hand. But we'll tap the Hoarding Broodlord, tap this, cast a Rakdos Signet. So we would have been able to go off easy there if we had hit a land drop on either of those 2 turns. Alright, let's go. So we're going to Convoke cast the Sawn Half. So that's 1 of its mana. 2, 3. Okay, 2, 3. We're casting Sawn Half, targeting our Hoarding Broodlord. We're going to make 2 copies of the Hoarding Broodlord. Important to remember that these will be small. These aren't going to be 7/6s, but that doesn't matter. But they do still have the converted mana cost. See, this is a copy of Hoarding Broodlord, and it has 8 mana as its mana cost. Okay, so when each of these ETBs, it's going to help. We're going to search the library for a card, any card, and we are going to find Pinnacle Monk, and we're going to find Burnt Offering. Alright, so Burnt Offering and Pinnacle Monk. We are going to tap Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if we tap the Springleaf Drum or if we Convoke. Either way. But we'll tap the Hoarding Broodlord to convoke cast Burn Offering. Burn Offering says we sacrifice a creature and add its mana value worth of mana to our mana pool in black and or red mana as we choose. So we'll just get 4 black and 4 black and 4 red. So we've got 8 mana floating. We're going to convoke cast the Pinnacle Monk. So 8 mana. We have 8 mana. We're going to tap this to pay for 1 of the 5 mana that it costs to cast the monk. Still have 8 mana floating. We're going to use 4 to cast the Pinnacle Monk. So we still have 4 mana floating. Just say 2 black and 2 red. Doesn't matter. When Pinnacle Monk ETBs, we return a sorcery or an instant card from the graveyard to our hand. We're going to return the Saw in Half. 4 mana floating. We're going to cast the Saw in Half on the Pinnacle Monk. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. So we'll still have 2 mana floating, and we're going to blow up the Pinnacle Monk. Blow up the Pinnacle Monk, and we make 2 copies of Pinnacle Monk. Oops. Make token copy. Where the hell is it? Make token copy. This one goes to the bin. Okay, and these are not tapped. These are going to ETB, and they're going to return, each one will return an instant or a sorcery to our hand, and we will be returning Saw in Half and Burnt Offering. Okay, we'll use a Burnt Offering to sacrifice a Pinnacle Monk to add 5 mana. Now we've got 7 mana. And we will use 3 of our 7 mana to Saw in Half on the Pinnacle Monk. So 3 of 7, so we have 4 floating. And we'll get 2 copies of this. We'll just leave the one. So this one gets blown up when we get 2 copies. One of them is going to return Saw in Half, and one of them is going to return Burnt Offering. So now we're going to, basically it's going to cost us a total of 4 mana right here. 1 for Burnt Offering, 1 for Saw in Half. That's going to get us 5 mana from Pinnacle Monk. And it's going to get us 2 Pinnacle Monks. So each time we do this, we're going to go up 1 mana. Like, we've got 4 floating right now. Next time we'll have 5, and then 6, and then 7. And then once we get just a crazy amount of, once we get a ton of mana, say we've got 29,000 mana stored up, then we will cast the Saw in Half on the Hoarding Broodlord that's still in play. And we'll make 2 copies of this, and we'll just get a Mayhem Devil and we'll just get a Mayhem Devil and who cares what else. And we'll just continue going through this loop, and we'll every time we sacrifice one of our Pinnacle Monks with the Burnt Offering, we'll ping somebody. Or we just, when we use the Saw in Half on this token, we make 2 of these. We've got 27 billion mana floating. We'll get Dualcaster Mage, and we'll get Twin Flame. And we'll just put the Dualcaster Twin Flame combo together and win. We actually already have a Twin Flame, so we really just need Dualcaster, and we really only need 3 mana. So that was a turn 5, but it was kind of an unfortunate turn 5. Like, most of the time that would not have been a turn 5. It would have been a turn 4, right? We've got 4 types in graveyard. I've been trying to keep an eye on that just to make sure that most of the time we'll be able to turn on our demonic console. And so far it's never been a problem, but I could see it being a problem. So that's how you win with the Hoarding Broodlord backup plan. So we don't need the Peer into the Abyss. I guess that's the point of that goldfish. Let's take a look at another for 7. This is good. This is fine. I don't know. I mean, it's fine, right? We've got a little ramp. We've got one of our combo pieces. We've got some interaction. I would keep this in a game. It's not going to goldfish as nicely as maybe some hands would. We'll draw for turn. We'll play our land. Let's do the Snarl. since we don't have the ability to play it untapped, and we don't have a plains or a mountain, so that could be a problem, but it's not a problem now. Then we'll play our Black Cleave Cliffs, and we'll tap for this, and we'll go to our turn 3. More interaction, and really this is what you want to see, you know? I mean, if you're playing in a real game, these pieces are going to be valuable. Like, we might actually end up passing turn, wait for our opponent to like crack a, well, depending on the budget, maybe not crack a fetch, but cast some kind of a tutor spell so we can put even Mind Sensor in, or we might have to go like this to cast our Skyclave Apparition to blow up somebody's, who knows, Sylvala, Kennen, whatever. But here we're just goldfishing, and I think maybe we just start looking for our win lines. Maybe we go 1, 2. I'm trying to think, do we cast the Buried Alive or do we cast our commander? We could do the Mind Stone and the Buried Alive. Let's do that. Then again, if we cast the commander first and discard a bunch of stuff, we might have a better idea of what we're going to draw into. We'll just do the Buried Alive. And a lot of times I'd put Murderous Redcap and then 2 of the instant win combos into the graveyard, but we'll just put them all in. Just to give you guys an idea, just so you remember kind of what we're planning on doing with the deck. So we'll do Hoarding Broodlord into the graveyard. Abdel Adrian's probably what we'd use now. Abdel Adrian, graveyard. And if we don't have 2 rocks in play, then we'll use World Gorger Dragon. Into the graveyard, close and shuffle, and go to our next turn. Alright, now we just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast our commander, and we're looking pretty specifically for a way to animate, so I think we just pitch it all. 1, 2, oops, yeah, 2, was that 2? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's going to ETB, and we're going to discard 5 and draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got there. Oh, we're down 1 mana, damn it. Oh no, we haven't played our land for turn. We are there. We have arrived. So we could, honestly, what we would do in game is we would go, we would cast the Persist on the Hoarding Broodlord, but I'm going to go one more turn, because I don't want to do that same line over again. So we'll go turn 5, land for turn. We're not going to do a Persist. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to cast our our Necromancy. And the Necromancy is going to target... Abdel Adrian is safer. You're not going to get blown out this way. World Gorger Dragon is better. And it's faster, right? It's it allows you to get all of the mana out of all of your lands, whereas the Abdel Adrian does not. But the World Gorger Dragon, if you get interacted with at the wrong moment, you're dead. Like, all of your stuff is exiled and it doesn't come back. Now, in this exact situation, we could do the World Gorger Dragon. It really wouldn't matter because we've got this card here. And definitely play your silences in these types of decks, guys. So we would cast the back half of this, Revel in Silence. Opponents can't cast spells or activate whatever. It's a silence. So we cast our silence, and then we World Gorger Dragon, murder everybody. So we would start by casting the silence, and we'll just, to be super safe, we're just going to do Abdel Adrian, but just keep in mind you could just as easily be doing World Gorger Dragon here. And again, we do have 4 types in the bin, so Delirium is on. for that tutor. All right, so Abdel Adrian enters the battlefield. He has an ETB that says when he enters the battlefield, I can exile any number of other non-land permanents I control. Make a 1/1 creature for each permanent that we exiled. And we're going to exile. First, we're going to tap the Mind Stone to float a mana. Then we are going to exile 1, 2, 3, 4 permanents. So we make 4 1/1s. I'm not going to keep track of the 1/1s. They really don't matter. They kind of could. You could buff up your team. You could stick a Hatred in your deck, and then as you're going through and flickering your commander over and over, you could put Hatred in the graveyard and attack with all of your 1/1s from Abdel Adrian. That's kind of a cool idea, actually. In fact, I might want to do that. Yeah, but never mind that. Maybe not. Like, probably if Peer into the Abyss doesn't make the cut, Anger doesn't either. But it's an idea. It's a thing you could do. If you've got an Anger laying around, Abdel Adrian can win the game with it. With this exact deck, you could flicker your commander and just keep putting all of the cards. You're going to draw the cards, discard all the cards, draw the cards, discard the cards, draw the cards, discard the cards. Eventually, you're going to put Anger in the graveyard, and you're going to have like a billion little 1/1s that you just made. And every time you, I don't know, if you cast a creature from your graveyard, maybe, you can murder people with pumped up or not pumped up Abdel Adrian 1/1s, right? Okay, but that's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is to animate our Abdel, flicker 1, 2, 3, 4 permanents. Okay, so then when we flicker this one, we're going to, so we floated 1 mana. When we flicker this permanent, we're going to discard 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to draw 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we've got 1 mana floating. When we flicker the Necromancy, Abdel Adrian leaves play. Well, when Abdel Adrian leaves play, all of these permanents that we flickered come back into play. So I already did the ETB for this, which I shouldn't have done. Got ahead of myself a little bit. But Abdel Adrian leaves play, so the mana rocks come back into play. Our commander comes into play, and that's when we would discard those cards and draw the cards that we just did. And the Necromancy comes back into play, and it is looking for a target, and we will choose Abdel Adrian. And the Abdel Adrian comes back into play. We're going to tap 2 mana in response. And then we're going to choose our flicker targets, our exile targets. We're going to exile 1, 2, 3, 4 permanents. So now we've got 3 mana floating. Now Abdel Adrian goes into the graveyard, which brings all of our stuff back. We've now got like 8 dudes in play. Necromancy comes back into play. Our commander comes back into play. Our mana rocks come back into play. They're now untapped. When she comes into play, we'll do her ETB. We're going to discard 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then this comes back into play, and it is looking for a target, and it's going to find Abdel Adrian. When Abdel Adrian comes into play, we get to exile any number of target permanents. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. You see where this is going, right? We're going to tap those in response. That's going to leave because we exiled this. Now we've got 12 dudes, and we've got, a bunch of mana. And when she comes back into play, because Abdel left, we're going to discard 1, 2, 3. Maybe we'll hold on to this guy, and we'll draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're just going to do this over and over until we have boundless mana and we found all the cards we want. Really, what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing this loop. Let's just keep doing this loop, and we'll just discard all of our cards. We just discard it all. 1, 2, 3, 4. It really doesn't matter. 5, 6, and then we draw 7. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we discard 7, and we draw 8, right? So eventually what's going to happen is we're going to get most of our graveyard or most of our library into the graveyard, and we're going to have a pile of mana, a pile of 1/1s that aren't going to matter. So we have this just tremendous amount of mana somewhere in our graveyard when we're done putting our drawing all the cards, discarding all the cards, drawing all the cards, discarding all the cards. And remember, we have silenced the table, by the way. At some point, we're going to find Sevinne's Reclamation. That'll be in the graveyard. And Underworld Breach will be in the graveyard. And we've got 1 billion mana. So we can use the Sevinne's Reclamation. We flash it back, and it allows us to flash back 2 permanents. One of them can be Underworld Breach, and then we have all the fuel we need to win the game with Underworld Breach. Or if we want an even simpler way to finish the game here, or maybe somebody exiled or Praetor's Grasp our Underworld Breach. Let's say somebody cast Praetor's Grasp on our Underworld Breach. So we do have Sevinne's Rec in the bin, but we don't have the Breach. Then eventually, when we're flipping cards, when we're drawing cards and discarding cards, we will come to Cut and Ribbons. This is my little. I'm so proud of that. You're not going to see this in any other decks. I can just about promise you. This is my tech. Okay, so we have 1 billion mana, and now we have effectively arranged for Cut and Ribbons to go into our graveyard. Well, this card it's a removal spell, 2 mana, a red and a colorless, deals 4 damage to target creature. That's not that bad. That's not dead. You'll definitely use that. Can kill just about anything that we care about, right? But the Aftermath ability is really why it's in the deck. I mean, it's not a dead card, and it's an outlet for infinite mana with exactly this deck, because we're putting all these cards in the graveyard, so we're going to use our 1 billion mana to cast Ribbons, which says black, black, and X. Each opponent loses X life. So it doesn't matter. We don't need our Breach. We've got our Cut and our Ribbons, and we murder the table with our infinite mana that way. Or when we're flipping cards into the grave, what is Sevinne's Reclamation? What does it allow us to get back? Permanent of 3 mana value or less. Okay. Okay, so we draw the cards before we put them into the graveyard. That's kind of important to remember. So at some point, we're going to come to Murderous Redcap. Did I already put that in the bin? Must have. So at some point, we'll come to Murderous Redcap. Where the hell is my Murderous Redcap? There it is. So at one point, we would have drawn Murderous Redcap. And with 1 billion mana, we cast the Murderous Redcap. And then we just continue to go through the loop. We find any of our sack outlets. I don't know. Well, we could even just keep bending everything, and then we could use the Sevinne's Reclamation to flash it back. And we could flash back. I don't know where our Skirk Prospector is, but it's either in the graveyard or the library. And either way, even if it's in the graveyard, doesn't matter. Maybe we had to sack it for mana early game, and you're happy to do that, or maybe we had to discard it to draw cards that we needed more in the early game. That's fine. So if it's in the graveyard and you're going through this, eventually you're going to find Sevinne's Reclamation, and you're going to flash back your Skirk Prospector, or if it's not been used, you're going to find the Skirk Prospector. You're going to cast the Skirk Prospector with your 1 billion mana. And now we're going to use the Skirk Prospector to sacrifice a goblin to add a red to our mana pool. That goblin is going to be Murderous Redcap. So we sacrifice the Murderous Redcap. But it has this ability, it's got a persist ability, which means it will enter the battlefield from the graveyard, but it'll get a -1 counter. So we'll only be able to sacrifice it one more time, right? Not so fast. We're playing Celes, and she ruins knights. But she also gives +1/+1 counters to creatures that come back from the graveyard. So that is gonna, so she gives the Murderous Redcap +1. The Murderous Redcap gets a -1. They cancel out, and now we just have a 2/2 Murderous Redcap and a Skirk Prospector. When the Murderous Redcap ETBs, it deals 2 damage if it's got 2 power. Well, when it came back this time, it actually only had 1 power. Not sure how that works. I'm not sure which happens first, if it gets the +1 first, or if it gets the, it must get the counters first. In any case, we're going to ping our opponent. We're going to ping an opponent each time the Murderous Redcap enters the battlefield. And then we're going to sacrifice it with the Skirk Prospector to generate a red mana. It will come back and we'll ping one of our opponents. We'll sacrifice it for a red. It'll come back. We're going to ping one of our opponents. So on and so forth. And you can just assemble this combo just in-game without going through the loops or anything, of course. You can just like draw your Skirk Prospector and Wishclaw for your Murderous Redcap. And there's redundancy because we also have Viscera Seer that'll sacrifice it. Viscera Seer. So if we don't have our Skirk for whatever reason, or if we maybe we just happen to draw into our Viscera Seer, cast our Viscera Seer, and we use our, what's that, Goblin Matron? We've got Goblin Matron. Maybe we cast the Goblin Matron to find the Murderous Redcap. We cast the Murderous Redcap. We've got our commander in play. And we can sacrifice the Redcap with the Viscera Seer, scry 1, and bring it back because of its Undying. It gets a +1 because of Celes, and we're in the same loop. And we can also stack our deck. Doesn't matter. Your opponents will be dead way before you. Well, it could matter in some cases. Like maybe, because we've also got the one that doesn't just kill everybody on its own. We've got the Goblin one, Putrid Goblin. Let's keep, you know what? Let's just see what happens naturally as we goldfish the deck. We're going to do a restart. Find a nice, fresh first 7. Damn, that would be good. See, in this deck, we also don't really care about drawing our combo pieces. Like, if you're playing another deck like, the closest version of this deck, I think, would probably be Tymna and Jessica. With Tymna and Jessica, it's a problem if you draw your World Gorger Dragon, because you need it in the bin, but there's no way for you to put it in the bin. Whereas our commander will gladly trade the World Gorger Dragon for a fresh card. In fact, 2 fresh cards, if that's all you have to discard. 1 more land, and I'd probably try and rock and roll with this. But let's restart, take a look at a second 7. That's no bueno, but damn, that's close. We've got a tutor, we've got the ramp. Do we want to risk it? We just need a fucking land. We need exactly a red land. Dark Ritual wouldn't be bad. We're going to our 6. Yeah, I guess we'll have to play this. And you got to be careful now. Like, one of the things about playing Celes that's different, like, you don't always just want to run out all of your shit, because keeping cards in your hand is a good thing, because then you get to trade them in for other cards when you cast your Celes. So, do we want to play the Strike It Rich? Or do we want to put this on the bottom of our library? We've got 2 lands. One's a little bit temporary looking. Turn 1, Strike It Rich. Turn 2. I think this is probably the throwback, or else the signet. We'll put this to the bottom. And draw a card. Alright. And we're going to start off with a, I don't know if we want to do, I don't think we need to cast our Viscera Seer. And I really don't want to use the gemstone more than I have to. So I think we'll just play it and pass. So this has 3 counters on it. Go to our next turn. Now we do need to do this. Remove a counter. Let's do this. Since we're not going to use the mana from this anyway, we may as well hold it back in case we do want to use the mana next. Well, then again, if we draw a land, we might want to just discard whatever rock. Let's do this. Alright, and then we'll go to our next turn. God damn it, no land. Go 1, 2. So we should be casting our commander and like wheeling This should be good. This should be like really good right now, but instead it sucks and everything sucks. We could have used the Lively Dirge just to do the first mode for 3 mana to put something in the bin, but we've got the World Gorger Dragon, so probably we don't need to bother with that. So we still have our 2 counters here. Next turn, how about a land? We'll take it. Alright, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast our Celes. We've been kind of unlucky with the lands, I feel. We're definitely going to discard 1. 2, we won't need that now. 3, let's just go 3, 4. Fuck it. 5, and we'll draw 6. Alright, so we got set a turn behind because of the land again. Which frickin' blows. So now we probably want to ephemerate. Going down to 1 counter on this. Ephemerate Celes. Just look for that fucking reanimate. We'll hold on to this just in case. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Never thought it'd be so hard to find a... Alright, well, we'll probably get it next turn, right? Go to our next turn. There's the Putrid Goblin. We could assemble an infinite mana combo. No. We're gonna... Our Ephemerate's gonna resolve on our upkeep. I don't know if I drew yet. I think I drew. So I think I shouldn't have drawn. And Ephemerate is going to go... it's going to flicker our commander. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to draw 6. Alright. And we're going to go land for turn. And I imagine we win the game here, right? Somehow. We can cast the Burnt Offering on Celes. Oh no, the garage door's opening. I'm gonna pause you guys. Man, I almost managed to get this video done without the dogs going crazy. Sorry about that. Fam just got home. Okay, so we just cast a Burnt Offering on our Celes. That's gonna make us 4 mana. In some combination of red or black. We will... How do we want to handle this? We'll just go... So we've got 4 mana floating. We're going to use 3 of it to convert this into dual caster mage. So we'll still have 1 floating, or twin flame. We'll still have 1 floating. Twin flame to hand. And we're going to go with our 1 floating. We've still got 1 counter on this, but we'll go 1 mana, 2 mana to cast this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the 1 floating. We'll go Twin Flame, Dual Caster Mage, make an infinite army of dual casters, and win the game. Probably there was ways I could have done that a little bit more efficiently, but I'm in a hurry because the house is about to go crazy with noise. So that's it, guys. I think that is going to do it. Probably we've been recording long enough anyway, and my family is about to come in here and tell me to stop recording on their time. Till next time, may all your outs be live, and your girls be liver, and your pots be monsters, and your may you die on the east side. What am I saying? West side until the day that I die. On the east side. Word to your mothers and your brothers and your fathers too. Namaste, homies. Over and out. Peace. Peace be with you. Peace off. Peace out. Peace off. Namaste.